There are so many different styles and sizes of running packs and waist belts. How do you choose the best one for your running? I'm at myRaceKit store in Sheffield with Steve Franklin, who's going to give us all the advice we need to choose the right running pack or waist belt. So the first thing is to get the right size, and this depends on how much you want to carry. So Steve, say it's a nice warm day and somebody just wants to run for an hour locally, quite close to home.
So generally speaking, if you're going for a shorter run, you might just be carrying your phone, your debit card, maybe a drink if it's a hot day, or your gloves and a hat if it's a little bit cooler. And for that, you obviously don't need a massive pack. So people will tend to go towards a waist belt or a very small vest. The waist belts tend to come in two styles. There's a style that it's basically a tube that you step into, or you can get styles like this that have a Velcro strap or a little clasp down here. And these obviously you can change the size with the buckles, whereas the tubular belt comes in different sizes depending on your waist size. And also, if it's a very hot day, actually slightly cooler. The negatives are there's some people who suffer with sort of GI, so gastrointestinal discomfort. So if you've got one of these on that's a little snug, that can sometimes aggravate it. And that's one thing you only really learn by using them. You can get smaller packs as well. They're called race vests. So they're quite stripped down. They have a small amount of storage in, and often have compartments to store water in as well. The benefits of this style is, because it's quite close fitting, you could just take half a bottle of water and not put anything else in it, and you wouldn't really know you've got it on.
Great, so what about a couple of hours on a day where you're not sure about the weather and you're going into the hills perhaps?
Personally for me, if I was going somewhere for 2 hours, but I knew the area well, I was confident that the weather wasn't going to get too bad, I wasn't going to get lost, then I might still go with a bum bag. So I'd just take my waterproof jacket. I'd probably take a map with me and a few of the spares, which if you've got lightweight kit, you can normally get into a bum bag. The downside with a bum bag when you load it a bit more is it can sort of bounce slightly, which is where the slightly smaller lightweight vests really come into their own. So these are designed to almost feel like an item of clothing. So you've got maybe a kilo on the front, 2 half-litre bottles of water, and a kilo a bit more on the back. The weight's very well balanced. The other benefit of these packs are you can use the cabling on there and the cinch on the side to take the volume out of the pack and to compress it down so it won't all bounce around. So you might find that you want a pack that's going to do everything. Well, something that's got this sort of setup really enables that.
And if people are going further, running for longer, maybe in more remote mountainside, in cooler conditions?
If you're going out for multiple hours, maybe somewhere you don't know so well, you'd probably be carrying your spare layers, so tops, bottoms, spare thermal layer. You might have a spare pair of socks in there, spare food, hats and gloves, and that's where these bigger packs are useful.
And for multi-day races, like perhaps something like the Marathon Des Sables, where you start off carrying a week's worth of food.
Elite athletes doing events like the Oman, they might be able to get all their kit into a 20-litre pack like this. People like me would probably go for a 30-litre pack because I like my niceties. If you're doing things like the Marathon Des Sables or multi-day events that are abroad, it's so important to go to a specialist store. The southern part of myRaceKit North, down in Southend-on-Sea, has an amazing range of packs that you can use for events like MDS. These tend to be quite sort of specific in how they're designed and components on them. A lot of people will use like a 30-litre pack for that to make sure they can get all their food in there, like that, all the mandatory kit that you have to carry.
So now we know what size to go for. There are certain features to look out for when choosing a running pack. Firstly, the fit. Steve, how important it is for runners to bring in the running kit that they plan to carry to the shop when they try these running packs on?
Often people will come in and buy packs kind of without really thinking about it too much, but someone calls us before, we'll always tell them to bring down the kit that they're hoping to carry. That way you can see how it fits in the pack, and if the store has a treadmill, you can get the pack loaded, get on the treadmill, you can have a run. There's no better way of testing it than running with a fully laden pack. The other benefit of having it loaded is you can actually see which compartments you can access, like we call it on-the-go storage. You might find that the zip on one pack is in an awkward place and you haven't quite got the flexibility to get to it. So there's no way of knowing until you get the pack on to try it out. Or you might find that it sits a little high up your neck and rubs. So coming down to a store with the kit you want to put in it and getting it in there and having a run is an amazing thing to do.
And for the women, do you always have to go for a women's pack if you're a woman?
The benefit of a lady trying on a lady's pack is the back sizes are different. Obviously, generally the front loading is different as well, but some ladies will have a bigger bust than others. There are some ladies who are absolutely fine with a gents vest. It's not like you have to have a ladies vest if you're a lady. And I also know some blokes who actually find the ladies vest better because they've got a smaller torso. We've got the Salomon vest here, the loading on the front, so the bottles sits beneath the bust, and you've got a straw that comes up around the side, so there shouldn't be any undue pressure over the front of the chest. Again, most brands now are bringing out ladies specific packs.
And if you use running poles, it's important to make sure you can carry them easily in whichever pack or waist belt you buy. So what are the different options here, Steve?
Again, the brands will tackle poles in a slightly different way and how to stow them. UD have the capacity to put the poles on the front of the packs. Salomon have custom quiver, a bit like you're going to shoot some arrows. Quite a few packs will have pole storage underneath the back of the pack there. Deciding what's right for you is a question of going to stores and trying it out. If you find a pack that fits perfectly, but it doesn't have quite the right way of attaching the poles, then there's a good chance that just by getting a needle and a thread, you can make that pack into the perfect pack for you.
And then finally, I think the weight is the last thing to consider. Would you agree, Steve? To me, it's more important to get a pack that's comfy with all the right features and durable than quibble over a few grams.
Obviously, if there's hundreds of grams difference between packs, that might have more of an impact. But like you said, Claire, knowing the packs that fit well, are comfortable, it is probably more important than thinking about 25 grams here and there.
Great, thanks Steve, that's brilliant. I hope that's given you an insight into what size running pack or waist belt to go for and some good advice on all the features that you want to look for. Head to your nearest myRaceKit store in Sheffield or Essex and their fully trained staff will help you find your perfect pack. Or use the information here in this film to make your choice from their extensive selection online at myRaceKit.com. So what I've got in shot is just up to your like mid-thigh.
Okay.
So
it's my best bit, my mid-thigh.
Yeah, best bit. So
I've actually got no idea if this vest has this in, but we're going to find out. Extra small, small, medium, large, dependent on your. That's the shop dog who's scaring the postman off. He does woof and skip. Shh.
In whichever waist pack or pack.
You might be, you might have a little bit of paunch there or something. Probably can't use the paunch thing in there.
No, that's good.